Hey guys, how you doing? So today I want to do a video about the importance of foot strength, ankle stability, and how it could be causing you pain in your knees and causing you to lose distance in your throws and having ankle pain and all that. It's honestly a very overlooked topic that I don't see a lot of throwers, especially on YouTube, talk about. And this really goes for everybody, all events, and just really all athletics. But I'm going to mainly be speaking in the context of throwers because, it's a throwing channel. So let's first talk about how do you know if you have weak ankles, all right, and weak feet. Actually, now let's first talk about the importance of it. So the importance of having good foot strength is intertwined with ankle strength. So first off, let's talk about the ankles. So the ankles are super important in any sport, but in the context of throwing, you turn on your ankles and your feet basically get the most pressure put on them throughout the entire throw. You always on your feet in the throw, no matter what. And the reason why it's important for them to be strong is because they're the shock absorbers of your body. They're the ones that take the force. So if you want to think about it like a car, and if you have weak suspension, say you go over a speed bump in your car, and instead of just smoothly just gliding over and the suspension just taking it, like your car just goes like all over the place, and you just rattle like all over the place. That's not good for the car, and it's not good for your body if your ankles are doing that. Alright? So think about it in the context of, discus or shot put. When you're turning, you're on one foot a lot of the time. So think about it. You're turning, you're putting your ankles in weird positions. Like you're not going in a straight line. You're turning, you're putting pressure on the foot. You go into the middle. Now you're right, and I'm speaking in the context of a right-handed thrower. Your right foot's in the middle. And your right foot is taking almost all the weight of your entire body, and you're landing pretty hard into the middle. Even though you're landing soft, your ankle has to absorb that force. All right. So think about it. So right now I have like a plush cushion right now. It's a pad. It's an athletic pad. If your ankle, so I'm just going to use my hand as an example. So my hand is my foot. So I land. If my ankle goes like, and dips down, my whole body crashes, the whole system breaks, and my hips collapse, and everything just becomes super unstable, which can lead to an ankle sprain, which can lead to a bad throw, which can lead to a whole host of other stuff. Alright? So you want strong ankles, alright? Because the stronger the ankles, the better the shock absorption. And the better the shock absorption, the more reaction you'll have, and that means you'll be able to produce force into the ground faster, more explosively, and harder, which in the end will, result in further throws, hopefully. All right, and will reduce injury risk, because if you have strong ankles, you're just going to be less likely to get injured. Not saying that it won't be injured ever, because that's just the nature of a sport, but it will reduce your injury risk a lot. Alright, so in summation, the reason why you want strong ankles and strong foot muscles is basically it reduces injury risk. It will allow you to produce force faster and stronger and more consistently, and it's just better for your other joints. So why do I say that? So say your ankle, so this is my ankle. I land in the middle and it collapses. That base, now my knee is unstable and it can go like that. If my knee goes like that and I'm really tired, let's say one day, I'm taking like 50 throws in discus, and on my last throw, I'm just super tired, I'm not focusing on positions, I just want to get out of practice. I'm lazy with my positions, and I just land, and my ankle collapses, and my knee just goes like, well, that could be a season ender right there. You know, that could be a torn ACL, that could be something. So, you know, it's very important, one, to never let that happen. You should never get to the point where you're throwing like that, because that's just a waste of time. Two, if you have strong ankles, it reduces the likelihood of your other joints in your leg being unstable, which reduces the injury risk for your knees. Alright, so that's very important. Alright, so that's also, so if you have knee pain, it could be because you have very weak ankles. Alright, and a good test to see if you have weak ankles is, one, do a single leg calf raise. And if it's really hard to do that, or you can't go up all the way on one leg, you probably have weak ankles. Another is if you do so if these are my feet, if you walk on your heels and do heel walks like that, if that's very hard for you to do, chances are you have weak ankles and you don't have that much ankle mobility. Alright? So you could have really strong ankles but really bad ankle mobility, which also affects strength. So the more range of motion that you can produce with your ankles without, one, pain, and two, and with strength, that also reduces the likelihood of ankle injuries. So things to solve that are ass to grass squatting, like an Olympic weightlifter. Just look, really any. I'm just gonna, like Lu Xiaojun, you know. Just look up him squatting and you'll get a concept of what ass to grass squatting is. Just doing body weight squats in barefoot and going all the way down, just holding it there and really stretching out those ankles. That's a good way. Another good way is wearing lifting shoes. It will make it easier in your lifting to do that. So that's another thing to do. To also improve ankle mobility, you can just do like ankle circles, and stuff too. You can just look up on YouTube how to do ankle mobility. It's not really that hard to get mobile ankles. Alright, so I'll say that. It's just kind of tedious and boring. But, you know, it's something you got to do as an athlete. So, that's the importance of ankle mobility and strength. Now, let's get to the foot part. The foot part is really more of the overlooked part. I think in sports in general, and especially in throwing. Because, you know, your foot is the base of the ankle. So if your foot muscles are weak, your ankle is going to be very hard to strengthen. Alright? So, first, let's get into foot strength. So foot strength. How you can tell if you have weak foot. One, if you have ankle pain. If you have ankle pain, you might have weak feet. Two, if you go to run or just walk and your foot's in pain, and I'm not a doctor before I say this, or like a medical professional or anything. So if you've just like always had foot pain and you don't know why, chances are, one, your foot muscles could be tight. Two, they could be weak and tight. And three, it could just be the shoes you're wearing. So in the context of throwing shoes, so if anybody is having foot pain just when they throw, like just when they put on their throwing shoes, it could literally just be because your the throwing shoes you have are just too tight or are not supporting you enough. So one, you could get insoles. And I'm not going to get into like the specifics of that just because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a podiatrist, I don't know about a lot of that stuff. Two, you could try a wider band. So like Velocas are really wide usually. I think Adidas are wide. Nikes, I think, are by far the like narrowest. So if you throw with Nikes and you have foot pain, you might want to try a different brand, you know, because maybe you need that wider sole. So I will say that. It could literally just be the throwing shoes you're wearing. And, you know, if your foot hurts, you're going to be less likely to produce force because, you know, you don't want to hurt more. And even if you say, oh, I want to push through the pain, your body is feeling pain, and your body is naturally not going to want to put a lot of pressure where pain is. It is not something you're going to control. It's something your brain is telling you. All right? And brain is telling the body. Even though you're telling the brain, oh, like I can push through and stuff, it's going to naturally do that because the body naturally wants to protect itself against things that hurt. All right? That's just physiology. All right? So, you know, even when you like, oh, I can push through it, you're not. Like, if you compare yourself like running like a 40-meter dash without pain and with pain, I guarantee you without pain will be way faster. All right? Even though you're like, oh, I'm going to push through it and stuff, it's just going to be slower. All right? So it's just a natural reaction. All right? And I will say, if you try and push through foot pain, that can be very dangerous because there's not a lot of muscles and they're very small muscles and they're very intricate muscles and there's a lot of tendons, a lot of fibers, a lot of joints in the foot, and they're very tiny. All right, so if you are having foot pain, take a break because if you take one wrong movement during that time you have pain, it can dramatically worsen the problem a lot. All right, so I will say that. So that is something I will tell you guys. Take a break. All right, it's okay sometimes. If you hurt, you're not gonna have good throwing sessions anyway. So just take a break and let it heal. All right. Now, I mean, there are certain cases, you know, like if you know it's like the last meet of your career, or like you know, like it's a couple days before like the big championship or something, you're gonna just have to push through it. I'm sorry. Like, speaking as a coach, unless you like physically cannot walk, then okay, then that's tough. But if you can walk and like kind of throw, I would say push it out, push it a little bit, just because you know you have the whole summer and off season to recover, so you have plenty of time. All right, so I will say that. That's just my mentality. But then again, if you don't want to risk your entire career, like you think it's going to be way worse, then do what you want to do. Again, I am not a doctor. That is just what I would personally do. But yeah, so I think we got a little off topic. The reason why you want foot strength is because, well, one, like I said, the foot muscles are the base of your ankle, and you can't really strengthen your ankle without really using the foot muscles. So they're kind of interlocked with each other. Like they're basically the same, except the ankle uses, so this is my shin, uses a lot more shin and calf, but you still need those foot muscles. All right. So how to strengthen the foot? So one, the toes. A lot of people don't really think about strengthening their toes, but when you think about it, it's kind of like, you know, like, so when you throw shot, you know, if this is the foot, this is the ankle, what's the last thing to leave? The shot to leave. These are the toes. These are the fingers. All right? And think about when you run. The last thing that leaves the ground and that you really push off of is your toes. All right? Even though you push off the ball of the foot, when you put pressure on the ball of the foot, you're pressing down with your toes. All right? So you need to have strong toes. Strong toes are going to really help you strengthen the hand. So the reason why, I know you're probably wondering this whole video, why I have a pad and a towel. The pad really isn't really anything. I'm just using it as a table for like a flat surface. So let's just say my hand is my foot. A thing exercise you can do, which is very common, if you've ever sprained your ankle, you've probably done this exercise before. If you ever sought PT for it, so say you have. So let me do it. Let me do it like this, so you can see better. So, say this is the ground. All right, this is my foot. Let's get my thumb out of here. What you want to do is roll. And this is hard to do because this isn't a slippery surface. So the towel's kind of sticking. So I'd recommend doing this on like tile or something, or like hardwood or whatever, or just a normal floor. I would not recommend doing this on a rug because you want the towel to be able to move sufficiently. So you want to just curl and just curl the toes in with the towel and kind of try and grip the towel and then slow. And to get a better demonstration of this, you can just go on YouTube, just type in like ankle sprain rehab stuff, and they'll have a whole bunch of stuff. But that's something you can do to strengthen the toes. Alright? So, another thing you can do stuff barefoot. So, like do cool down laps barefoot, like on grass. Probably not on the track. Do your plyometrics and your sprinting barefoot. Obviously not all the time because you don't want your feet to get torn up. But you know, like in the off season stuff, you see a lot of like sprinters and jumpers and stuff. They do a lot of their warm ups and stuff barefoot on the grass of the field and stuff, just to get those foot muscles all warm and strengthened. So that's something you can do as well. And I'm not going to go into a whole ankle rehab thing because I don't want this to be like an hour video. You guys can just do the research on that yourself. There isn't really that many things I've seen on YouTube that necessarily are wrong. There's not really too many exercises you can do with the ankle. So this is generally all like the same kind of stuff. I will say you want more rotational, up and down, and side to side. As long as you get those planes of motion, you should be just fine. And I would say incorporate calf raises, so like single leg calf raises and double leg calf raises in as well, and the duck walks, because the shin muscles are really important as well to keep that ankle stability and ankle strength. So I will say that. And again, if you have actual pain, just go to the doctor. Alright, again, I'm not a doctor. And if you like feel like tingling, numbness or heat, or like really bad instability that you've never really felt before, or if there's bruising, go to the doctor. You might have a fracture, you might have something. Alright, again, I'm not a doctor, but those kind of symptoms, go to the doctor. Alright? A lot of stuff won't help you in that initial process. A lot of stuff you'll probably see in the rehab process if you have that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I will say that. So, I hope this video helps you. So, let's take a quick summary of what I said, because I know I rambled a little bit. So, let's first cap off the summary of the ankle. So, why you need ankle strength? Because they're the shock absorbers, and if you have weak stabilization, it's gonna throw off the system of your entire throw. It's gonna make you have a weak base in your throw. You're not gonna be able to produce that power in your throw to throw the furthest you can. You're gonna be more at risk for injury. So strengthen your ankles. It will help your knee pain if you have any. It'll definitely help you prevent knee pain. And it will decrease ankle pain and foot pain, and it will most likely increase your athleticism, your coordination, your reaction time, and the ability to produce more force into the ground faster. Alright, so, and then the foot /toe, really, well, okay, foot/toe, same thing. Strength. You need that because that's the base of your ankle. So you can't really strengthen your ankle without strengthening your foot. And the toes are the last contact point and really like the push-off point. When you run, when you sprint, when you turn, when you push off out the back of the circle, when you land in the right and rotate and all that, you need all those foot muscles, all right? So, and generally those are very weak in a lot of people. So things you can do, one, if you have foot pain, trying a different brand of throwing shoes that are a little wider. So if you feel like your feet are really compressed, try like Adidas or like a Velosa or something. Those I think might be the widest. I haven't really tried. I've tried Velocas before. I personally just don't like them because they're really slow. But I mean they're like fine, I guess. If you like that. I personally don't. I personally throw in Nikes. So I will say that. But I get them like a half size bigger just to make them a little wider. But yeah, that's what I do. Again, like a lot of people throw in Nikes because, you know, they're just like the biggest company. But that doesn't mean they're the right shoe for you. So I will say if you're having foot pain but it's only when you're throwing and only when you put on your throwing shoes. One, if you just initially put on your throwing shoes, break them in a little because throwing shoes just come inherently tight. So just like any shoe, you just need to wear them in a little bit and they could get a lot looser and just be just fine. If after that initial like break-in process, if they're still hurting you, it could literally just be the shoe. And if you can tell if it's a throwing shoe because if you put on your trainers or just walk, you have no pain. But the second you put on your throwing shoes and there's pain, it probably means it's your throwing shoes that are causing that. All right, so I will say that. So yeah, and I think that pretty much covers everything I said. So let me know if you guys have any questions, if you need any other tips or tricks or technical videos or whatever, and see you all next time.